Okay, perfect, perfect. The statistics are here. Okay. Um, his message is not in like the chat anymore for some reason, but I'd like to first thank Original Railser for becoming a channel member. Thank you very much for your support. That is, if the fact that his message is not showing up doesn't mean that he canceled things. Anyway, thanks anyway. That's what I like to say. And this time, I'm not the. Oh, hi, Aphysia. This time, I'm not the only host. In fact, please say hi, Inoji.
Hi, I'm Inoji-kun. Do you want to introduce myself?
I prefer if you introduce yourself. I don't like introducing
Okay.
other people.
I make videos about anime and otaku culture with a bit of philosophy. So that's it.
Okay. Okay, we're going to be talking about, well, the title that's right there. We'll be tackling the things people like due to VTuber mounts. So I guess we've stalled long enough. Let's just get into it. Essentially, like it's just very uh kind of disturbing to me. Many of you will not probably mind, but like this won't even bat an eye to you guys. But I just imagine myself if I was in Pecora's situation or on the situation on the shoes of any other VTuber who like had this happen to them. Like imagine this. Imagine that you make an avatar, VTuber model for a family member, and people like the design so much that they start making Rule 34 art of that model. Like, if that happened to me, if I was a VTuber and I did that, and then people, like, did that art of my mom, or at least my mom's model, uh, I'll be honest, I have to go full Ted Kaczynski on some people right here. I'm not gonna lie. So it's just weird to me. I understand. I was talking to Inoji before about this that like it's just some like normal thing in the VTuber community. Is just some like uh, it's something that the fans like and that the VTubers themselves don't seem to mind for various reasons. But it's just kind of like disturbing to think about if you put yourself in the shoes of the people like in that situation. Especially if you're like one of those people that really kind of views your model as an extension of yourself. So yeah, in that case, it's particularly weird to see that happen. I
Yeah, yeah.
believe, you know.
I know it can be a pretty weird thing because we take like a real life woman that is married, that has kids, and we portray her as an anime character, and we make uh, weird pictures about her character. But I think that first, maybe some VTubers care about it and don't like it, but they will accept it because it's part of the culture. So I think that's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
And second, I think it depends on how much you can differentiate between the real life actor and the character you are portraying.
Mm-hmm.
So, so, uh, but I personally, I like it. I don't mind it, and I love it, to be honest. So, for example, I like Peko Mama. I like her design. I like uh, when this happens as a consumer, but I think not only as the VTuber, but also for the person itself, it can be very weird. I don't know how the family members will feel about that.
Yeah, I've been talking about the VTubers, but imagine what Pecco Mama herself would think if she saw that. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
Aficia says, honestly, I don't know how to think about. Yeah, it's quite the awkward topic I chose to
Oh,
start
but
this with. It doesn't
so
bother
think,
me, and I see the appeal. Yeah, I can understand that. It's pretty much you pretty much mirror Inoji's opinion, so I can see that.
so,
Yes.
uh, so think, for example, you will see a lewd fan art of Peko Mama and you don't like it.
hmm Me personally, like as a consumer.
You, uh-huh.
Oh no, no, I love it. I like
Oh,
this kind of art.
okay.
Like I just think about this from the perspective of uh, the person, you know. But
Mhm.
from the perspective of a consumer, yeah, I also love it. Pecco Mama's design is just amazing. A Fisher says, I see it as a joke a bit. And yeah, I can like understand it as more of a unserious thing. Maybe they really don't take it seriously. Maybe they also think of it as kind of a joke too. So maybe I'm the one that is making a mountain out of a molehill or whatever the expression is. But um God damn it, I chose this as the main topic and we're already done with it. Unless you have anything to add.
Uh, I don't know. I can say that this comes specifically from the we can say MILF obsession that some people have, and it is very it can be seen on on otaku culture too. So I don't know. It's the same with some other topics that we can talk about on otaku culture. These things, if you think about it,
In a more
with
serious manner.
yes, in a more serious manner, with I don't know, they seem weird. Not only this kind of art about mother, but the other topics like Loricon or uh, these- those things.
Yes. So yeah, I understand that point, but like A Fisher said, like I can definitely see that. Like, haha, your mama is hotter than you. Like that absolutely seems like the kind of joke VTuber fans would have with their favorite
But
content creators. That
you know,
absolutely makes sense. Yes.
but you know what is I can say what is I don't know weird for me is that or awesome. I don't know how to put it, but that I think that right now Peko Mama has
hmm
more pornographic pictures than the Usada Peko. No?
I don't know how to feel about that. Anyway, do
Yeah,
you have anything to add, or should we move on to the next topic?
I think we can move on.
Okay, so on like the same vein of like sexual stuff, do you
Mhm.
feel like panty shots are disappearing from anime? Because
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, you noticed that too, right? Because I talked to a lot of people and they seem to think that like panty shots are becoming less and less common in anime recently. And this doesn't bother me personally much, at least on again like a personal level, like I'm saying. But I can definitely see why it bothers a few people because like in the anime I grew up watching, right? For example, one of my first ones, Rosario Vampire. I think some dudes they made like a chart and they found out that in that very short 12 episode anime there are I think more almost 200 panty shots.
Mm-hmm.
And the last, like the more recent anime I've seen with any panty shots in general were My Dress Up Darling and I think it was Dan Da Dan. And they don't come even close. Like they do have panty shots, but it's not even close to what it used to be. Do you notice that too?
Um, I don't know. I haven't seen much current anime to be honest, but I think that we can. It will. It wouldn't be rare if it disappears because I think anime has evolved across time. For example, during the last decade to the previous decade,
Yes.
it was way more normal to have ecchi anime, to have more fan service,
Mm-hmm.
the RM, everything. And now, anime, as I have seen, has evolved from those kind of fan service anime to more serious romantic comedies. For example, you have seen the growing number of romantic comedies that came from manga that are inspired by Takagi-san. That
Yes.
they
Yes.
are they are so much that are like this. That They are mm, several romantic comedies that are like this, and they don't have this kind of ecchi or this kind of fan service that previous romantic comedies
Mm-hmm.
uh, had. So I think maybe,
Mm-hmm.
but I personally haven't watched too much current anime to be honest.
The problem I see with like this is that a lot of times the manga that the anime
Mhm.
is based around does have a lot of panty shots that they then censor in the anime version. And due to censorship being kind of a hot topic right now, like a lot of people are seeing this and they're not liking, like if it was a more natural direction that anime was going, but it feels like it's kind of occurring as a result of censorship, and that's why I feel like a lot of people don't like it. And even if I'm not too into panty shots, I can understand the frustration because something similar has been happening to something I like a lot. I like leotards. You know what leotards are?
Yes, yes,
Okay. And every time, it feels like every time there's a character that wears a legit leotard in anime these days, they always have to convert it into something else. It's always like a bodysuit in the anime when it wasn't like that in the manga, or like they need to add something underneath, like those horrible looking like brown shorts that you see sometimes in remakes of games. And so even if it doesn't affect me personally, I can understand the frustration that comes from seeing something you like disappear, especially if it seems like this is happening due to uh, like external forces. Like it's not happening naturally. It's not because creators simply don't want to do that anymore. It's because someone is coming here and say, no, you can't have this. Oh, but I'm willing to pay and this person's willing to do this. Oh no, but fuck you. Like we're going to interfere. I don't want you doing this. I think
yes, yes.
that's where the frustration comes from for the most part.
But I don't exactly know if it's happening because of censorship,
Hmm.
but or I mean, like I don't know if there's a force outside that want to censor all of this. But I think that maybe what's happening is that anime in the process of becoming mainstream is adapting to mainstream standards, but not in a radical way, in the sense that we eliminate al ecchi or al aren or al fan service, but in a more slow way. That that that's what I think would be happening, but I'm not pretty sure because even today or even in this decade, we had like an anime like Onimai that I think is a pretty pretty good fan service anime.
Yes,
But
yes,
but in the past, I think we had more like that.
yes, definitely. Now, let's read some of the comments. But wasn't it always like, hasn't it always been like this? A Fisher says, anime tone it down what happens in the manga. Yes, we have various examples of this happening, even with anime from before and after the time I'm talking about. For example, Fairy Tail censored a lot of the female characters' outfits. They are way more sexy in the manga. This happened too in like Air Gear. Like if you, a lot of people find Air Gear to be like the pinnacle of fan service. They think that that is uh there's a lot of fan service in that anime, but the manga is even more sexual, right? Uh, and so that to an extent this always has been happening, but it's becoming a lot more frustrating these days because if you only look at it superficially, you can say, oh, but this has always been happening. But if you go down into the details, you see how much fan service there was in anime, like proper anime adaptations before, and how much it has now. And if you compare like the relatively unchanged levels of fan service that have continued in manga, like you see that there is a difference, even if it doesn't feel like one. And with so much censorship happening, it's kind of easy to associate it to that. Uh, Obviously, there are always going to be exceptions to the rule. Like, not everything is getting less sexual. There are always going to be like your gushing over magical girls, your redo of healers, right? But exceptions don't disprove the rule. Now let's see what Fisher, I sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, said. I think they need to make anime more marketable, so they censor. I feel like what anime gets away with because the fan service and demographic the anime is targeted to. That could be it too, because you see a lot more censorship happening in mainstream anime. Like for example, Inoji was talking about. Uh, Aside from Crunchyroll's bullshit, like there wasn't a lot of censorship in Onimai, for example. We had quite literally naked lollies in that show, so clearly no one was giving a fuck, right? And it may be due to this because you see these anime that are getting censored, like ReZero or My Hero Academia or Dan Da Dan, for example, which is the example I used before. Like all of these are pretty mainstream anime, so they may want to censor these things so it's more mainstream while keeping it in anime that are supposed to be more niche. Like I can understand that, and like the thought at least, and like to an extent I even think it's a good thing because a lot of people used to complain that anime that it was difficult to for example find an anime for them because it felt like obviously that wasn't true, but it's certainly if you lived through the 2000s 2010s, it felt like every other anime had not just fan service but in your face fan service. So on one hand I understand the desire for this, and the thoughts that it may make things better in general for people, since we still have our fan service. But on the other, given that a lot of it is based on censorship, right? Like, no, clearly this happened in the manga or in the light novel, and we're censoring it for the anime. Like, that irks me a bit. Like, in general, I'd even think that what they're doing right now is a good thing, but on that principle, that's what makes it like a problem for me. What do you think?
I don't like I don't like it, to be honest. I don't think it's a good thing, but especially because I
Your audio is cutting. Okay, say something again. Inoji? Okay, while he is out, I'll respond to a Fisher. I need advice. Is it worth collecting DVDs of anime nowadays? Like, it was never worth it. Those things are really overpriced, no matter if you're buying Japanese or Western. But if you mean it in a way like, oh, should I buy it because it's physical media and they can just take it off the air like they can with streaming services? Like, if you mean it like that, yes, it's certainly worth it. Physical media is very rare nowadays, so as much of it as you can acquire is good. Now, if you mean that financially, then no. Uh, like, collecting DVDs of anime has never been worth it. Like, in the sense of like a cost benefit sort of thing.
I
Okay, try to say something.
something.
Okay, your audio is good.
What was I saying?
You were talking about like you're not liking something.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like this censorship,
Mm-hmm.
if we can call it like that, because you can say I'm a hardcore gatekeeper. Do you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yes, yes.
So so I think that if if the fan service works as an tool
Deterrent.
to gate, I don't have a problem with it.
Mm. Yeah, a lot of people, like especially Blue Archive fans, like use that tactic.
Mhm.
So I can
Yeah, yeah,
understand
yeah.
what you mean. Yeah, a lot
Eh,
of people have
eh,
been like asking for this actually. Like, a lot of people actually demand for anime and especially anime games to have more fan service so that the normies go away, right? So
Obviously,
yes.
but I can see a problem with it because it's not, because in that case it will be used fan service for the sake of being fan service, and I think fan service needs to have a purpose. Do you know?
Mm, yeah, I can understand that. I used to watch anime in some site and got a virus. Oh, we all have like a Fisher. We all have that kind of story. Don't worry. We all like, especially before like the legal streaming days. But even now, since I think a study found that even now people are using like more uh they're watching more pirated anime than they are watching legal anime. I wonder why. uh so yeah, we all have these kinds of stories, and I think they will continue to be the case, given how things are going. Fortunately, Defender quickly got to it before it done something. That's quite lucky of you. A lot of people unfortunately don't get so lucky. But with that, can we move on to the next topic? Or do you
Yes.
still have something to say?
I don't think so.
Okay, so actually, a fish here. She they wanted to talk me to talk about. You know what snoot game is?
Repeat it. I didn't hear.
Snoot game. You know what that is? I'll put it in
Mm,
this on Discord, right?
okay.
You ever heard of this? Inoji? Okay, so while Inoji is probably like searching, like googling this to know what the hell I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, so I will just talk about it myself, and then you add something if you have any
Mhm.
commentary on my commentary. Essentially, there was this game called Goodbye Volcano High, which a lot of people hated. Like a lot of people hated. So what happened is that like 4chan, because 4chan is always involved in these things. 4chan organized itself and made kind of a parody game called Snoot Game, in reference to Squid Game, obviously. Though, given that it was a 4chan made like parody game, obviously it kind of pokes fun at and like kind of ironizes, I guess it would be the word, probably not, uh, the original game, Goodbye Volcano High. Uh, it also works by itself as just a pretty good game. Like a lot of people hate, like hate with a passion, Goodbye Volcano High, but they love Snoot Game. Exactly because it's work that's actually made with passion. It's a work that's not trying to preach something to you. That's not. Uh, I heard that it was a team, but that would actually uh, clear up a few things. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. But the point is that what A. Fisher was kind of questioning me, why did people hate Volcano High? Uh, I think the best way to explain it would be millennial dialogue. Like, you know, that annoying ass dialogue that is like, did it? Holy shit. That's actually pretty impressive. No, but you know that dialogue, that forspoken type of dialogue, like, oh my god, I can't believe this just happened. Like, it's that kind of thing. It has a lot of
Okay.
the problems with dialogue and writing and like character design uh, that people complain a lot in Western media now. So that is why people hated Volcano High. So what
Okay.
a Fisher I think wanted me to talk about the most is like, yeah, that was a pretty interesting situation. That was a really good thing that occurred. Like and they were saying, "Oh, shouldn't we do these types of things with more games?" Like for example, Dustborn, if you've ever heard of that, or South of Midnight, because those games, like at their core, they're not bad games, like gameplay wise, and they do have kind of um like an interesting concept, but like they're brought down by like the preachy and annoying dialogue, the ugly character design, the nonsensical story made with checkboxes in mind, and things like that. So, wouldn't it be interesting if more games got the snoot game treatment of taking something soulless, corporate, and just made to tick boxes and turning it into a game with passion, with soul, right? And ideally, this would be like a very good thing. Like this, like if we could do this to more games, that would be really cool. But the problem is that Snoot Game's situation was very unique because for the kind of thing that happened to Snoot Game to happen to um, like other games would be very difficult. It's what I mean because Snoot Game, no, sorry, Goodbye Volcano High is, if I remember, either a visual novel or a glorified visual novel, essentially. So for one guy or a couple of guys on 4chan to make their own game in that style is easier, you know. I'm not
Mhm.
saying that making a game of any kind, especially with Snoot Games scale, is easy. Not at all. But you guys will agree with me, I hope, that making a game, uh, making a visual novel is a lot easier than even making a very basic game, like a turn based RPG made on RPG Maker. Even that is more difficult than making a visual novel. Even especially if we scale like the sizes, if we scale the um like I guess scope, because obviously making like a half an hour long kind of short experience a horror game like the ones Manly Badass Hero typically plays, it's like obviously easier than Snoot Game was, but for games of its scope, Snoot Game being a visual novel was easier to make. It was more um, like feasible than making like an RPG or something like that. And so it's very unlikely that we would see that for other games, especially because of timing. Like finishing a game like Snoot Game in time when the like hate, when the controversy, when it's these things are within public consciousness is a lot easier. Imagine if someone made, for example, a game in the same style as Dustborn, making fun of it and adding again soul and like good dialogue and genuine passion to it. Like it would take, at the very least, even with a small team, like years to do that. And at that point, like no one would care anymore. Like your game might as well have been an original game with how much like exposure it would have, right? So with how much hype it would have. So that it would be nice, but realistically, what happened to Snoot Game? Obviously, it has already happened to other games as well. But what happened to Snoot Game is always going to be something really rare, unfortunately. Uh, Now let's read some of the comments. I want to make a rewrite of Dustborn and I already have an idea, but I don't know in what media to tell it. Don't worry about that. That would be uh, a good Concord. That exists, dude. It's just called Marvel Rivals. What do you mean a good one? Like this has already been done. Like you can play it right now. But what I'd advise you to do, A Fisher, is just write. Like, don't worry about the media. Don't worry about what type of game you want to do. Just write, and when you have a concrete story, it's way easier to like gauge these things. You yourself made a good example there as well. Aung, like first you write and then you decide what to do with it. That's much better creatively and for you to actually like get your work properly done, because even if you don't turn it to a game, right, um you already have the script, so you could just release it on the web and people could enjoy just that, you know. It wouldn't be like your vision or something like that, I understand, but it's better to have something rather than nothing, you know. It's better for this to be an actual thing that people can experience, even if a more simple thing rather than a incredible project that only exists in your head. That's kind of the lesson I had to learn, especially with YouTube. Now for another comment. Making a visual novel is easier, but relying purely on storytelling to capture audiences is different. I feel like you can see a lot of games getting carried by their gameplay rather than their story. I think that's in some regards even like better. Like because a lot of people focus too much on like cinematic storytelling and end up making a boring game, at least in a lot of people's views. Like if you guys liked, for example, the new God of War remakes, like right, if you guys like that, I don't have an issue with you. There's no problem. I think your opinion is valid, but a lot of people didn't like the approach that they used. That's why games like Doom, for example, or Space Marine are having so much success because people just like to have a game, you know? For a game to be carried by its gameplay, it's better, at least I think, in the eyes of in the eyes of a lot of people, than it being carried by its story. But yeah, I think the point you want to make is that, yeah, making a visual novel is easier, but Snoot games should be commended for having uh, actual work, actual talent put into the storytelling, which I definitely agree. Another thing to add to this conversation is the fact that the creators of the parody genuinely liked something of the original. If it was just created without it, maybe it wouldn't come as good. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I agree because a lot of good things can come out of hatred. Like as sad as that is to say. Yeah, obviously for VNs, but I'm talking about like other types of games. Because for example, I think it was Watchmen, right? Uh, Maybe he didn't hate everything, but Alan Moore hated. Like he genuinely disliked a lot of the uh major cliches or major uh I, I I guess elements of superhero comics, and so he wanted to parody them, and that resulted in something pretty amazing, which is Watchmen. So yeah, a lot of good things can come out of pure hatred. So I don't know if I agree, but I think I can see your logic there. I want to add to the writing stuff. This goes for all creative projects on the internet. Listen to criticism and don't get overly emotional from trolling. From what I've seen, that's the fastest way for a project to become a job. That's a great like advice. I remember there was a video of mine, a couple of them, but this one especially that got a ton of backlash. Like a lot of people were calling me like all sorts of awful things in the comments, and what I did was just ignore them. Like I ignored all those people and just went back to making videos. Obviously that affected me, but I think for the most part, just letting things happen, just letting the trolling go on and like not doing anything about it, like especially if it doesn't evolve into something more extreme like what happened to chibi reviews, right? If it doesn't cross that point, ignoring it and focusing on just making good content is better. Also, obviously, listen to criticism. You don't have to take all the criticism into account, but it's important to at least listen and consider it. So, yes, I completely agree with you there. Any thoughts to add, Enoji?
About the last thing you said about the trolling or the internet, that scares me. To be honest, the internet scares me itself.
Just one
People,
thing. I'm going to need to leave, so please, like, uh, basically say your arguments without me being there. Okay? Just
okay,
like just say what you want to
okay, okay,
say while I leave for a second.
okay. Basically, to me, the internet is a very weird place. I think, uh, obviously, not everyone in the internet is bad, but I think that, I don't know, becoming a public figure on the internet is something that scares me. That's why I try to maintain a low profile everywhere, because I have seen very cases of people that for just opinions or just uh, their own tastes, yeah, they become victim of trolling or or massive troll, etc. That scares me, to be honest. But just that. Also, sorry if someone, sorry for my bad English, because uh, I'm not I think this is the first time I'm speaking English or to someone else. I don't have a very good English. I have probably bad pronunciation and bad grammar. So sorry someone if someone don't understand me.
Sorry, was I gone for too long? Uh,
Uh, I don't
hopefully,
know.
uh, like, hopefully I didn't take too long to resolve that issue. But anyway, it's all good. Second language is hard. I think most people can. Oh, they're just talking about you, Inoji. Oh, okay, okay. Your English is fine. You're doing your best. See, I told you that my viewers were nice. You had nothing to worry about.
Yes, yes.
So,
So basically, what I was saying was that I'm scared of the internet. Maybe because I had bad experiences on the internet before. That maybe that's the reason.
mhm.
But I don't know. I don't trust people on the internet too much. And maybe it's for the time I have spent in some internet forums or things like that. But I have seen people being very very bad, very I don't know.
No, I get what you mean. Like I haven't been in the forums, but again, like I said, I had bad experiences with this very channel, so I totally get
Mhm.
what you mean.
To be honest, I was scared to make the video about Doricon because I don't know. I I feel paranoid. I feel that you
Yes.
was gonna get viral or something. Hope so, but that didn't happen.
Hmm.
So that's good.
Hmm. So speaking of lolicon, that's a pretty good segue that you gave me.
Mhm.
uh, That is the correct way to deal with the internet. This is basically walking in the street at night in a dangerous place. Yeah, that's pretty comparable. But what I was getting to is that you actually gave me a pretty good segue into another topic I wanted to talk about, which is lolicons in denial. Like what
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say to you guys is going to sound difficult to believe because you may think I'm exaggerating or that I'm making shit up due to how insane this is going to sound, but some people like want to avoid being seen as lolicons. Uh, no matter how much like uh, everyone can clearly see that that's the case, as possible, right? Obviously, we got the like short stack enjoyers who they will always say, "Oh no, if I'll only enjoy if the character is an adult, if they are over 18, if the author put the random number on the character, right?" Like in it's very, oh, the fans of the cyberpunk girl, yeah, fans of like Rebecca from Cyberpunk, Tatsumaki, like a lot of Free Rent 2, a lot of these types of characters, right? And it's really funny because they are trying so hard to appeal to the normies, to say, oh no, we're not like those weirdos, we're not like those people, like we despise them too. And the only response I've ever seen them get from the normies that they are trying so hard to appeal to is, oh, to us you both look the same, so get away from me, pedophile. Like it's just so funny because they try so hard and it never amounts to anything. It's great. Uh, yeah, definitely. Some of these people are genuinely insane. Like I was talking about what happened to Chibi reviews, man. Like people send him actual CP. Like they threatened his family. Like seriously threatened his family. Like some of these people are just deranged. Like legitimately. But what I wanted to say, actually, what I want to transition into is that as like stupid as those people seem, right? There are some people who are even more insane. Let me tell you about a case I heard recently. Like one person was surprised because Mint Phantom, the VTuber, liked Kisaki from Blue Archive, right? And they were saying, "Oh, I didn't know Mint was a lolicon. That's cool." And another person said, "Oh, but Kisaki is not a lolly. She's 17." And I'm like,
Lol.
do people really think that, oh no, the character is like older than 12, so she can't possibly be a lolly. Please ignore the fact that she is incredibly short and can wear like children's clothes perfectly. Please ignore the fact that she barely has any curves at all. She's totally not a lolly, guy. It was so ridiculous to see, but people will really go these like mental gymnastics to avoid the bad L word, right? It's just funny to see like the extent that people will go. Have you ever encountered these situations, Inoji?
I have seen people like that on the internet. I think that, to be honest, I hate it. I hate those people, and I hate that that behavior, specifically because I have an idea that that everyone's that knows about the topic, they do really shares, but I try to formulate it in some kind of sense. For example, I think that, or I believe that lolly is
Mm-hmm.
an aesthetic category. It's not a narrative category. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, if an author says that the character is 20 or the character is 15 or the character is 100 and 1000, whatever, that doesn't matter because lolly is an aesthetic category. It's not a narrative one. For example, and that doesn't make any sense for, let's say, you have a person that I don't know, likes Isaki from Blue Archive.
Mm-hmm.
So Isaki, you can say that she's not a loli because she has certain age or whatever. But then what will happen if the, for example, we modify the age of the character and we say that Kisaki is 10 years old or 8 years old? Then magically these people, this person will not like Kisaki. That doesn't make any sense for me, to be honest.
It's because people care way too much about random numbers that people assign to lines on a paper, generally because they're too concerned with the opinions of other people. A lot of this is just social shaming. It's a lot of people trying not to seem like weirdos or whatever. Now,
Yeah, yeah,
uh sorry, were you going to say
yeah.
something?
But if you don't want to be seen as a weirdo, then maybe don't like Blue Archive or something like that.
Yeah, that's fair. Like if you're in this game in the first place, like you're going to be seen as a weirdo. If you're going to be seen as a weirdo for liking VTubers in the first place, you're going to be seen as a weirdo for liking anime in the first place. Why are you so concerned? But
Yes.
I don't it it just boggles my mind. But let's read some of the comments here. Not a lolly from Blue Archive. Lol. Lamau even. Yeah, sure. Like, no one cares about the. A lot of people care, unfortunately. They shouldn't, but they do. Uh, you like little anime girls who are 15. I like little anime girls who look like they're 15 but are actually 3,500 years old. We are not the same. Yeah, yeah. To the like average normie, we are very much the same, my dude. I'm sorry to say. Feel like people who act like lollies are the worst in the anime community have never seen Guro before. Oh, that's very interesting that you mentioned that because that's the next topic. But first, let's finish this one. No one actually cares if the anime character is 15. They just yeah, fair, fair. That's a good point. What else? What else? Oh, now we're going to like the most egregious like story I have to tell you. There was this guy, this artist that he was saying like he wasn't an anti, but he was saying, "No, I don't enjoy lolicon. Like I think it's weird. I respect the people who do, but I think it's weird. I don't like it. I feel actually kind of uncomfortable, etc." So not an anti, but someone who they say they're not a lolicon. And then someone called them out on it and said, "Hey, weren't you like ranting like just a bit ago about how much you liked Ilya and not even like Fate Stay Night Ilya, Prisma Ilya?" And he was like, "Oh no no no, but see how Ilya is built. Like there's some booba there. Like she does have some curves in her hips. So this is totally different, guys. Like you're mixing like water and oil together. This is totally different. I'm not a lolicon." Motherfucker's a Prisma Ilya fan, not a lolicon, by the way. It's just the mental gymnastics some people will go. I can't even be mad. It's just funny to me. Uh,
So did he say that Ilya is different because she has curves or something like that?
exactly. That's exactly what he was
That
saying.
that point to me is stupid. Is stupid because, for example, if you search for the origin of the Loricon term and the Loricon culture on Japan,
Hmm.
the so-called king of the Loricon, which is Hideo Azuma,
Hmm.
he drew characters that had like curves that had I don't know strong legs. I don't know
Yes,
how to say it, but
they're
he
thick.
drew this kind of basically that, and it was considered lolly. It was so. For example, if you look for Chichi or
Hmm.
Milk from Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball, she also has this kind of design because
Hmm.
this design, the origin of the Lori design was inspired by Osamu Tezuka that used this cartoonish anatomy, if we can say it
Hmm.
like that. And so it is weird for me. Well, I don't know if it's weird, but I think it's stupid to say something like that. That a lolly because she has a curvy figure, she isn't a lolly. Because we have many artists that draw lolly with curves or thick legs.
Hmm. Exactly. Like there are even like artists in Azure Lane, for example, that became really popular that like to draw bottom heavy lollies, like lollies with really wide hips. There have been
Mhm.
opie lollies, like literally big booby lollies for ages. So these people are just wrong. I could mention more
Uh-huh.
examples. Like I have so many examples of people doing like the most stupid mental gymnastics to try to justify this kind of thing. But I think it's best if we move on from this topic after addressing some of these comments. Man, those are the funniest weirdos. It's like they wanna be some sort of normie. At the same time, they are just a bunch of perverts, like the ones they're hating in the first place. Many such cases. Genuine questions. If someone like one and only one lolly, doesn't this person count as a lolicon, or it depends on what a lolly looks like? I feel like this is
Mhm.
an interesting question. Like, what do you think, Enoji? I genuinely, because like we get into the whole oh, what makes you a true anime fan? Because like if a person only likes One Piece, and let's say they're not like anti, they don't like, they're not going to start shit with you because you watch the like more weird anime. They just are fans of One Piece and they just want to have their One Piece, right? Let's consider this
Mhm.
situation. They like One Piece, but they don't like any other type of anime. They don't watch anime in general. They just like One Piece, but they really like One Piece. They have watched the anime, they follow content of it online, they have read the manga at this point. Like, can we not call those people anime fans? Like, given that they're so dedicated and given that they're not tourists, just because they like only one anime, if they dedicate themselves so much to that anime, or like even then they should like more of the media. And if that person's a critic, for example, if they watch a lot of shows but they only like a tiny fraction of the shows, like is that not an anime fan? That's why I think that is a quite the interesting and complex topic to talk about, because like it genuinely is a hard question for me to answer particularly. So I want to see what other people think. So
Okay, I think that, for example, in this case, the One Piece fan is essentially a One Piece fan, not necessarily an anime fan. That are two different kind of things. Think that, for example, if you don't like anime in general as a concept, you can be counted as an anime fan. That's my opinion, to be honest.
mm, okay. It's
I don't think that it is a bad thing. You can like whatever you want, but you wouldn't count as an anime fan.
mm, okay. Uh yeah, I can see that. Maybe we could call them simply a One Piece fan, or a fan of, in the case
Yeah.
of the critic, very particular anime, without them being like a proper anime fan. I'm fine with this. I think that makes sense. Now let's address some of the comments here. The normies would have called that person a filthy lot. Yeah, it's very funny because some people, they aren't copers like the ones I talked about before. They legitimately aren't into lolicon, but they defend it on principle. And those people get counted with lolicons. Maybe they absolutely despise like lolicon art and just defend it on principle, and they're still counted because normie's gonna normie. But anyway, another one. Well, can this topic be brought up with VTubers as well? I someone who only watches their one and only Oshi. Like, do we consider them a VTuber fan? I think that's a bit different because like some people are really dedicated to a particular VTuber at a time. Like if that VTuber graduates or just stops streaming in general, they don't go to like a personal account or something. I feel like these people could move on and watch other VTubers. They just choose not to because they just like their Oshi so much. So it's complicated, and I think it would vary from person to person, but I definitely think a person can still be considered a VTuber fan even if they only watch their one and only Oshi, because that works a bit differently than with the anime stuff. But if the person just likes a few specific lollies, but is clearly a person who isn't trying to do moral grandstanding, not a lolicon, but a lolly enjoyer, all the same. Yeah, I think that's a
I
good way
think
to view it. I think that's a good way to view it. What do you think?
I think that lolly enjoyer and lolicon are the same thing, to be honest.
Mm, I think I can see the separation because there are some people, for example, that I know of that they are that type of person that I mentioned, that they are not lolicons, like, but they don't have an issue with lolicons, and they like just a few specific lollies. Generally, the legal lollies, as they're called. Like I said, Tatsumaki, Rebecca, Freeren. I've seen those types of people, and I definitely think that if they're not just doing that, if they're not just saying that to appeal to the normies, if they genuinely like don't mind lolicon, but they just like a specific type of lolicon, I feel like they should have their own classification. I feel like at that point they deserve to be separated because they're just trying to separate themselves, not because they dislike the general fandom, but just because they don't identify with everything, right? So I do feel like um, they deserve a different classification if they so desire. For the last comment
Uh,
for now, if they heavily follow and like that thing, yes, he should be counted as a weeaboo. If he only followed the show and never cared about anything else of the show, I count as a fan of the show and not a weeb. Um, yeah, I can see. Like I respect that definition. I think there definitely should be separations for things because a lot of people try to group a lot of things together. I remember, like on one of my very first videos, someone was talking to me about like that they really liked Aru's design, but they don't play Blue Archive. Can they be considered a Blue Archive fan? And I said no. You could at most be considered not even a fan of Aru, but a fan of Aru's design. Like at that point, and so I think these again, as long as it's not for the purpose of coping, I do feel like these classifications, these like separations are important. They're not only valid, but they're important as well. I do think because that person didn't hate Blue Archive. They didn't say, "Oh, I don't like it because of those bad lolicon fans." Right? They just don't play the game, but they really like Karu's design, and so I think that they deserve their own classification in that case. But what do you think?
and I don't know. I think, for example, in the case that you mentioned it about someone liking some lollies but not being a lolicon, but I think in that case it depends on the reason, because on the reason why why the person like the lolly.
Mm,
For example, if the person like the lolly because it's a good written character or something like that, I don't think it makes them necessarily a lolicon.
mm-hmm,
Uh, but if they like it or they like the character because they are a lolly, I can't think that the person will be a lolicon. So it's but I will I wouldn't call them an lolicon enjoyer. I would say that the person is an anime fan. Is the same thing that other people do with, for example, fan service anime. They don't like fan service, but they understand it's a part of anime culture or anime, and they accept it, but they don't particularly like it. And I would call them anime enjoyers or anime fans.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think there are definitely various ways to look at this, but I can definitely understand. Like, I think all of what you said is fair. I think the various ways people, at least the people in the comments and you emoji, are fair. Like, because we don't and like as long as we can all respect each other, I don't think it's even a bad thing for us to um like disagree on various things, you know.
Yes, yes.
uh Efisha said that I think it's because people now are too obsessed with fandoms. uh one second, because my internet is quite bad for some reason, so I'm going to see if I can fix it. Let's hope it fixes itself, because God, things are bad. I hope you guys aren't being affected by this. I hope this is just bad reading here. But what else? What else? Yeah, people being too obsessed with fandoms is definitely like a problem. Because a lot of people, that's why we call them tourists, right? Because they're not actually interested in the median, they're just interested in following trends, because they want to fit in, because they want to be up to date on what's popular. And like they said, if there's no new official thing or no fan work, they consider it dead franchises. There are various people that are just in it for the fandom, are just in it for like to relate to other people, to find other people to talk about. And on the surface, I don't think that that's wrong. But when you're only a fan of something, not because of the thing, but just because you like to follow trends, yeah, that can lead to a lot of problems like we've been seeing. And the obsession with the fandom aspect, I think it's not even just a part of it. It's exactly what's wrong with tourists. So I think Fisher hit the nail on the head with that one.
In my case, I would say that I don't consider myself part of any fandom. I have never considered myself part of any fandom because uh, uh, I said before, I said it before, bad experiences on internet, and I learned to enjoy the things by myself. But
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem with some people is that they use anime or whatever video games, whatever thing, but specifically in the case of anime, they use anime as a medium and not as an end. As an end in itself, I mean, they use anime as a medium to socialize, to interact with other people, to gain friendships, and I don't think that for example, if you go to convention or if you are in a group of people that like some anime, I think that's entirely bad. The bad thing itself is that you prioritize that social aspect over the medium itself.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's what I don't like, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. And like Young put it here, when the anime fandom was so niche, you had to watch other things to actually have a conversation. You were more open minded. Why waste your time on something you don't enjoy? Exactly. Like when it was like a more niche thing, when you had to be an actual fan and you had to watch and understand the medium to talk to people, when there was like that barrier of knowledge to even have the social aspect. You couldn't just like watch Demon Slayer and participate in a fandom. I think that made there were already assholes back then, everyone I think will remember like those very negative critics that would just shit on everything, like DG Bro or DX Fan or people like that.
Gibro, the Gibro is based.
We could agree to disagree on that, but there were
Okay.
always people like that. But well, I do believe, I do agree that things were better back then, especially because, like you probably think, those people, even though they were super negative and hated pretty much everything, they did it because of a love of the medium, because they wanted to improve. Like for the most part, there were also like assholes, especially in those people's fan bases that genuinely just disliked anime and wanted, even from that time, for it to lose some of its weirder aspects to become mainstream. But I can definitely see like what you mean when you say that things were better back then, like that little dark age stuff. uh
I think there are several things that have changed since back then. For example, we now have short form content, for example,
mhm.
and there are people that do not directly watch the series or do not directly watch an anime. They watch short clips of the anime. Or sorry. Eh, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Do you hear me again?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Don't worry. Inoji? Wait, my internet is collapsing. Let me fix it. Um, okay, don't worry. Inoji, I'll be reading some comments while you're gone. Okay, DG Bro actually liked anime at least. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I can understand why DG Bro was, as much as I hated that guy, why he was preferable to the people we have right now. Like, we had it so good back then, and we didn't know. But for me, it's important to like the thing first and foremost. Fandom is nice in theory, but honestly, all of them are toxic. Yeah, a lot of people have made like dedicated videos on this, but fandom tends to get toxic very quickly, like especially when it gets popular. But even when it's more niche, like we have, unfortunately, even examples of this happening to things that supposedly should avoid this like phenomenon, right? Like Blue Archive and Nikkei and stuff like that. There are unfortunately cases I could mention of that fan, or even those fandoms turning toxic, unfortunately. Uh, but yeah, I think there was even a person that said this. I think it was a philosopher that one person can be a genius, but like one intelligent person is intelligent. But if you put a lot of intelligent people in a room, you just get like uh, you will just get like dumbassery essentially. Like a lot of smart people in a room don't make things even smarter, that they tend to make each other stupider. So that makes sense on that. What how would I define it in that uh it makes sense that way as well. What else? What else? This is why I mainly read niche manga, because I often find that people are less charged or saying stuff like the author should die for writing this in those sub communities. Yeah, a lot of problems with fandom, not all of them, but a lot of the problems with fandom come when things get too popular. That's why a lot of people these days say that, oh, anime should have stayed niche, it should have gone mainstream. So that makes sense. What else? But basically, the niche community made you see it as a club instead of a sports coliseum. After seeing that weirdo named Ellen Historian or whatever, 100 Digibros would be preferable. Too many cooks in the yeah. exactly. Like it's like I'm saying, like we had it really good back then because even the most awful people in the community didn't compare to what we have right now. I'm sorry, A Fisher, but I'm going to need to uh, address another comment because I have been ignoring them for a long time. I think it's separate also. Anime has a lot of genres, as lolis have a lot of classifications, lolibaba, loliopais, etc. Of course, if they like lolis and they're going against someone who also like lolis, that would make them a hypocrite. Yeah, definitely. It's just really annoying when people go, oh no, my like weird gooning, my weird like kink is more moral than yours. Like I see that a lot, especially outside of lolly stuff, like with mommy enjoyers. Like a lot of mommy enjoyers will not admit how weird their stuff is if we analyze it more objectively. But anyway, now to actually address a Fisher. I remember someone said about Castleflix as a defense. Excuse me, do you really prefer the old lore and shitting in the OG Castlevania? Those are the people who unironically think that OG Castlevania had no lore, which is entirely wrong and stupid to think because no, Castlevania had a lot of lore. It had a rich lore and a very cool story that they could have very much adapted. It wasn't just a bunch of games like about a dude going to a castle and beating up a ton of monsters. There was actual lore, there was actual story that they could have adapted. They just wanted to go their own direction because fucking Netflix. They always do that. But anyway, that's okay. A thing that's worse than terrorists is when they become a parasite of the franchise. Using Castleflix, that's a great name, I'm stealing this, as an example. If you say anything about the game, someone will bring up the shitty Netflix show. Yeah. Uh, at the very least, I consider these people like, because they at the very least like something, right? They like the shitty version of something, but at least they like something, right? They're still a fan of something. But a phenomenon I've noticed is that a lot of people on the internet these days they watch. I think Inoji was going to talk about this. They watch shorts on YouTube. They watch videos, and they consider themselves a fan of the franchise. Like they actually played or they've actually like watched the content. No, you watch some idiot on YouTube talk about the content. You didn't experience it yourself. Like those are not the same thing. Many such cases, especially in the Fear and Hunger franchise, for example. But anyway, I'm sorry, I just had a lot of comments to address, Inoji. But what did you have to say? I'm so sorry for uh
Mm,
like
don't
hogging
worry,
the
don't worry.
spotlight for so long.
But specifically about what?
No, because I think you were going to say something about that last point of the people who consume content about a medium without actually engaging with the medium. I think that's what.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. It is like a normal behavior in this contemporary culture because we are becoming more consumer than before. And I say this because I think at least I don't know, too much people use, for example, TikTok or YouTube Shorts, and in the moment you are doing that, you are becoming a consumer, and I don't mean consumer in the kind of otaku sense or a consumer of some medium. I mean as a passive consumer that you basically are watching something, not engaging with it, not wanting to investigate about it because you are exposed with information on your phone, and you keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling, and that, apart from being unhealthy for your brain, that creates some kind of problem that not too much people tend to talk about in fandom culture or in culture. That is what interests me, and I think that is one of the reasons for anime becoming more mainstream. Because, for example, I have people that I know in real life that don't watch some anime, but know the anime and think they know about the anime because they have watched some TikTok about it. And I honestly don't like that. I think I hate posers. I think that's the word I will use for them.
Yes, that's a very appropriate word. I hate that too, honestly. Again, many such cases in the Fear and Hunger franchise, unfortunately. But with that,
Mm.
I think we should. Do you have time for another topic, or do you think we should finish right here?
I think I have time.
Okay. Let's talk about something a bit more like simple then, because like, do you know what anime substitutes are?
I don't know, to be honest. No.
Okay, there are a lot of people who say that despite being anime fans, they don't watch anime as much these days.
Mhm.
Uh, I think I came back at the wrong time, bro. What's the context? Oh, don't worry. We're already on a different subject. Like, you're going to understand everything. So, a lot of people are anime fans and they've watched anime for a long time, but they haven't watched it recently. And not because, like, they grew out of it or they grew tired of the medium, but because they found what they call a substitute. Because a lot of people who watch VTubers, for example, they already spend like hours and hours and hours watching an anime girl play something, sometimes even an anime game, and they say, "Oh, I don't feel like watching like anime after that. Like I already spent so much time with what's essentially glorified anime that I don't feel the need to consume these stories anymore. I'm enjoying the medium through this other way." A lot of people like don't worry, the VOD will be available, so you can catch it later. But a lot of people have that opinion too about gacha games for some reason. No, for some reason, they have this like kind of thought too. They see this phenomenon as well on gacha games. Like for example, a lot of people who play Nikkei or Blue Archive or, for example, Zenless Zone Zero or any like of these types of gacha games, they're essentially already engaging with, and it's even more justifiable, I think, in their case than the case of like the VTuber fan because they are in fact engaging with not only an anime style but essentially an anime story like pretty much every day. So of course they don't feel the need to watch any more anime because they already pretty much have to watch anime for long periods of time every day. So it's more kind of that. There are also other things like, for example, anime styled games or like webtoons with an anime like art style and cliches or like various types of things. A lot of people have substituted. Like they don't watch anime anymore, but not because they're not fans of anime. They just consume it in a different way. Like they don't consume like proper anime anymore. They don't watch like actual anime, but they read manga or play gacha games or stuff like that. And it's just an interesting phenomenon that I wanted to know what you guys think about. Like a lot of people are already like putting their opinions about it in chat, and I'll address them later. But first, please, Inoji, what do you think?
Mm, I think it's very hard for me to think that way. I mean, like substituting anime for with something else. So I can I can't comprehend the mindset of these people. I more or less see it as normal. But in my case, I don't, I, for example, don't play video games too
Mm-hmm.
much. I don't think I don't play any video game. And I watch VTuber, but I don't watch uh, long hours of stream. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mostly watch anime for since I don't know how many years, and maybe sometimes I read light novels, but
Mm-hmm.
not too much.
Mm. I understand. I'll be honest. If the anime has a manga, these days I generally prefer to read the manga. Honestly, so
Mhm,
I still watch anime, but I do get people on that aspect at least. Now let's
mhm,
read some of the comments because I think your perspective is also interesting because you essentially aren't that type of people, but you do understand. And I think most people in the comments right now are also like understanding of these people because, for example, Armageddon is truth is saying, I think it's attention span nowadays, to be honest. I myself being a victim of this. Being fair, if that gacha is something like FGO, it may as well be an anime, so you have an excuse. It's very relatable since I went from a huge anime fan to a manga fan, and I think it's easier to get a story in book or game form since my people are more used to it, especially older fans. Only watch the anime for the visuals nowadays, to be honest. Yeah, seems like a lot of people in the comments don't just understand, but they may also be that type of fan. So obviously, they. I do still think, like you said, that there are fans of anime because they're consuming, like the comments said, and like you said, anime content at the end of the day. Like VTubers may be less justifiable, but if you play a lot of JRPGs, if you play a lot of gacha games, if you're essentially reading a story with that wasn't made by a Japanese author, but that is very anime inspired in this style and like has a lot of cliches in its story that are very reminiscent of anime. I think people who do that are still anime fans, despite not uh, watching actual anime. Especially people like me who essentially just read the manga. I'm just watching anime, but it's not animated. So yeah, I think it's just an interesting phenomenon I've seen. I'm more of a manga VN reader than an anime watcher, but I don't have much time for. I don't really watch anime because the pacing is usually too slow for me. Yeah, that's especially an issue in shonen. I only read manga unless there's a series that I absolutely love. Yeah, seems like a lot of people in the comments again not only can understand this like feeling, but they are also like a part of it. There are a lot of people in the comments right now that also substituted anime in some way, shape, or form. Again, it's just an interesting phenomenon, and it's interesting to hear about it from people who are actually living it too. Uh, I okay. Geronimo, though, he has kind of a counter to this, apparently. I would call that a form of overdose. Like, my dad always says too much of anything becomes poison. Yeah, I think, like, what you mean is that because they're already consuming so much anime or anime styled content, if they like actually watch anime on top of that, that wouldn't be good for them. Like, and they are seeing this, and that's why, like that's what causes this phenomenon. I can definitely see that. Um, what else? A Fisher. I'm more of a manga VN reader than anime watcher, but I don't have much time for it now. But I have a big backlog of game, manga, VN, and I have unfinished fan art to do. Oh yeah, that's also huge component of it because uh, it's not just about like consuming something so much that you don't want more, even more of that type of content. It's also a issue of time because reading like 2 or 3 manga chapters, which like addressed before, usually will give you even more story content than a proper episode. Like that's much faster than watching an anime. So like a lot of people will do that simply because they don't have a lot of time, and that occurs a lot. For example, with VTubers, not so much because they have those like a fucking half a day long streams, right? But especially in the case of like manga and uh, gacha games, like the issue of time is definitely a driving force for that phenomenon. Uh,
And I think that in the case of VTubers, there are some people that, for example, if they don't have time to watch the streams, they listen to it
oh,
use
that's true. That's true.
while doing other things.
Hmm. Hmm. So that can be like because with anime, you need to pay attention, right, to understand the story.
Yeah.
But if you're watching a VTuber, that can also save you time, even if the streams take longer, because you can watch it more passively. Yeah, yeah, I can definitely understand that. You make a very good point. Yeah. VTubers have also invaded short, slow, so they're definitely able to cover. Oh god, that's so true. That yeah, you also make a amazing point there. It's human nature to want more efficiency, true. And there's a really funny comment by Armageddon's Truth. I mean, if you watch VTubers over anime, I'll question what type of anime you watched in the first place, Law. A lot of the people I've seen who have substituted anime for VTubers are genuinely the like cute girls doing cute things fans. So uh, I guess they have more of an excuse in that case. That's just my view, though. But what do you think, Inoji?
Uh, I wanted to talk about the comment before that. I think that
Mm-hmm.
someone say that it's human nature to seek efficiency or something like that.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes, I don't really think that it is human nature. I think it's the nature of the system in real life. As I said previously, for example, with short form content being more normal, more part of our daily life, we as a society have evolved to seek efficiency, but for example, for myself, I value value. I think is the word. I value
Mm-hmm.
slow process, slow things. I like to take my time. For example, watching anime,
Mm-hmm.
reading a book, reading like novels, whatever thing. And I think we need to learn to do this. But it's very difficult. For example,
Mm-hmm.
in today's time, we have people that do not read books or can't even read books because their attention spans have been reduced because of TikTok or short form content, and I think that is a problem.
Mm-hmm. And it's like you said, it's a whole thing of conditioning of society. Insert Joker meme here, but
Yes,
uh, that we are conditioned from a very young age to want more efficiency, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But like you said, we need to kind of detox from that a bit. We obviously efficiency is important, like because we have things to do. We have a lot of things to do, especially in the modern world. So wanting to do as many things as possible in a short span of time to an extent is necessary, but you definitely need to detox from it a bit and take things easy because it's very easy to, like you said, not only uh, lose your attention span, not only like become brain rotted by TikTok and things like that. But it's also a very good way, good, quote unquote, a way to become more stressed as well. A lot of people are very stressed nowadays exactly because they don't reserve time to just lay back a bit and not do like a billion things every second. So it's a balance is definitely necessary. Efficacy is life in a simple way, and to avoid the reminder of the fact that we will die, we slow it to our own preference. As humans are subject to the system, but mentally above the domain. I I'm sorry, I'm too much of a dumbass to understand like what you said. Efficacy is life in a simple way, and to avoid the reminder that we will die, we slow it to our preference. As humans are subject to the system, but mentally about. I think what they mean is that thing that we are definitely um it's the two things, right? We are definitely affected by our environment, but we're not defined by it. So a lot of it is due to innate human nature to want efficiency, but that innate human nature is definitely like uh, exacerbated by today's society, the system we live in. Because we also have a nature to want to take things slowly and to want to appreciate uh, more life in a more complete way, in a more relaxed way. We have both of these like impulses. We have both of these desires, and it's just that one is more like pushed by society nowadays. I think it's what they meant to say. Basically, a lot of entertainment is ignoring our mortality, and because life is fast, the natural cope is slowing it down. Oh, so that's what you mean. Oh, no, no. Okay. So I just agree, like completely. That's very true. True, I like to play old games on my PS2. That makes sense. Another thing is that nowadays we have the power and want to consume everything, be it old or new. Yeah, and us wanting to consume so much content because there is so much content nowadays leads to that mentality as well. It's not just a thing of the system, it's more of also the circumstances in the entertainment itself. But with that, I think this is a good way to end things here. Wouldn't you say, Inoji? Or do you want to actually say something before we wrap things up?
I don't know. I think I'm fine with that.
Okay, so we'll end stream now. Uh, Thank you all so much for watching and participating, and I really hope to see you in the next episode. I unfortunately don't know when it will occur because honestly, I had to go through a lot of subjects on this stream to keep it going, and I'll be honest, I don't even know if I have enough subjects to cover for another one of these things. I'll have to see if I can find more interesting subjects. But yeah, for now we're ending things off. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all again next time. Especially you, Enoji. I know you're quite a busy guy, but I hope we can do this again.
I hope so.
I'm glad you asked the community for topics. I'll try. I haven't had many good experiences with that. I'm too occupied enjoying anime culture to watch anime. It's not like my anime list is become too big while I was reading a list of light novels or anything. Yeah, I definitely, I definitely relate to that experience. But for now, thank you all for watching. See you next time.